If you've seen Adam Sandler's movie Big Daddy, it's declared this is the greatest band of all time. STYX has just kicked off a massive summer tour, Renegades and Juke Box Heroes, co-headlining with Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees Foreigner and special guest John Waite. I'm joined by singer and keyboardist Lawrence Gowan. How are you today?
I'm fantastic, Dana. How are you?
Pretty good. So you guys just kicked this off yesterday. How did the first show go?
Spectacular, beyond expectation. It was, well, quite honestly, we, not to sound like we're take anything for granted, because we don't. We take it all with a great big heap and helping of gratitude. But no, the audience were just spectacular. The building was full to the rafters, and they did everything that we were hoping they would do. And just the euphoria that we left the stage at just looks like it's going to be a fun summer.
This is a big tour, and is this the most sales, better than any year, any summer that you guys have toured?
Yes. 2 summers ago, we had the biggest summer tour we'd ever had in STYX 50-year history, but advanced sales for this year's tour have exceeded that, so we already are beyond where we were a couple of years ago. There's just, honestly, Dana, there's an insatiable appetite for people to see, great rock shows, and particularly bands of that classic rock era that are still doing it on the level that we are, with the big shows, with big lighting, big lasers, big every unapologetically pompous rock shows seem to be very much what people are drawn to right now. And in some ways, it's understandable, because it's the greatest form of entertainment that I've ever encountered myself.
You can't go really to the movies and get goosebumps and tears and everything that comes with a live show, and the camaraderie of the people that you're standing and sitting with, in my opinion.
I think you're absolutely right. Not only that, but I've asked that question myself, is why is, I love movies, and I love going to Cirque du Soleil, and I love there's other forms of entertainment that I really am drawn to, but nothing stays with you quite as long as the experience of a great rock show. At least that's my observation, and when I go and see one of my favorite bands again, say a couple of years later, or sometimes 10 years later, like I went and saw Peter Gabriel just last year, and I've seen him many times over the course. I feel like we've connected on such a level beyond regular life that it really is. It's such an uplifting experience, and it stays with me. It makes me harken back to the other shows of his that I've seen, and the same for Elton John or the Rolling Stones. And, I get to maybe 1 or 2 shows a year, and I have the same visceral experience that I see in our audience.
There's something about music where it takes you back to important times in your life. Like I was listening to John Waite, and I'm like, oh, it totally brought me back to younger years and hearing my mom crank that song when it came on all the time. And I was just like...
I'm so relieved that you didn't say your grandma. That's good.
Well, this is the thing, too. Like, our daughter, who is 17 years old, is wearing T-shirts of 80s rock bands. And I'm like... This is so cool. You weren't even alive yet.
Yep. Well, I started to observe that about 15 years ago with STYX. I began to see there's younger and younger groups of people in the audience who are, unsupervised by parents or older siblings, and they're singing the words to everything. And then a couple of years after that, playing my Gowan solo shows in Toronto. I mean, we just played Massey Hall last November, a Gowan show, and half the audience were under 40. They weren't even born when the biggest records of the 80s came out, and they knew the words to everything we played. And that's the same with the STYX audience that I saw last night, is that, they were... at least half of them weren't even born when these songs came out. Not only did they know them, they sing them in a manner that is concurrent with their own lives. They see themselves in the lyrics, and they're just as enamored with the melodic content and the whole thing. So I think it's indisputable now to say that rock music, and classic rock in particular, is the great musical statement of the last half of the 20th century. And people, it has lasted. It has lasted far longer than the predicted shelf life.
I love talking to bands that have been around for a long time because you've really been through all the ways, like you really depended on radio to get your music out there.
Yes.
You had your stuff on cassettes and vinyl, and now you're back to vinyl. We actually should talk about this. You guys are putting out a dual, what is it, a shared album?
Yeah, I just saw the copies of it last night flying out as we were signing a pile of them. There's we combined a STYX and a Foreigner a record into one piece of vinyl. I think it's one side per band, and I think that there's so many reasons why that may have come back, but I think that a lot of people, either who are of the vinyl era or people who are enamored with it who weren't of the vinyl era, I think it's such an alternative way of entertainment and than what we're afforded on our phones and tablets and computers, etc. It's a very unique experience to sit down and put on an album and listen for 40 minutes, listen to that record and go on that little theater of the mind trip that it can provide, and it bonds you to that band or to that artist in a way that it's not quite the same when you're kind of flicking through your phone set list, you know what I mean, or your compilation that while you're distracted with other things. I think the physicality of putting on a record and having to allow yourself to kind of almost meditate upon it and it's a great form of entertainment that people have rediscovered. And
it's got a different sound. You can't get that sound on your phone.
Not at all. You certainly cannot. Nor your laptop, nor any other device like that. No, you need either a great set of headphones or just a set of speakers. And yes, it's a completely different environment that analog world pulls you into.
So this is available as a picture disc or a silver vinyl.
Yeah.
It's really neat because both bands are playing together, and if you're at these shows, you guys are going to be dropping hits for 4 hours straight, and they get to kind of take it home a little better than a t-shirt,
It can be, yes. I'd be a little more careful with it than a t-shirt, though, because vinyl can be quite volatile, especially if you leave it sitting in the sun too long, as I did when I was like 10 years old with a Beatle album. So, it's a great souvenir. It goes beyond that. It's a great memento. Well, I guess that's a souvenir, isn't it? It's a great physical representation of what the night was. Yeah.
And it's a collector's album. They're doing only so many copies of the picture disc and so many of the silver edition are available. And once they're sold out, or do you think they would repress it?
I don't know. Our latest album, we had an album we put out 2 years ago, Crash to the Crown. It went to number one on Billboard's rock album chart. Mm-hmm. They have a separate chart for that now. And it continued to sell really strongly over the last 2 years, mostly on vinyl. So we keep getting orders to reprint. But I have a feeling since this is an album that's connected directly to this Renegades and Juke Box Heroes tour, that it'll probably be a finite number that will only be available on this run.
Yeah, your record label told me that just 1,000 copies of the picture disc and only 5,000 individually numbered copies of the silver edition are available. That's not a lot.
Well, they might be gone already. I don't know. That is not a lot. If it's as low as that, I have a feeling there'll be a reprint, but get them while they last.
Well, yeah, because you guys, your next show, I think, is Clarkston, Michigan, June 15th at Pine Knob. You could sell them, like, that crowd would be able to buy them all. Actually, the first one could have. You're right. They could be gone.
Yeah. There's something about that tactile experience that people are very drawn to. And now that you've told me that, Dana, I think I'm going to go and try to weasel a copy myself.
This is so exciting. It's great that you guys are all playing together on this massive summer tour. You guys have so many hits. I mean, there's 5 decades of hits here.
Yeah, that's where people are really getting their money's worth, is that it's 4 hours of all the songs you've heard many times. You're not going to come to the show and miss hearing something that you really, really wanted to hear, because it's all hits. The rest of the year when we tour, we might go much deeper into the album cuts, but this is a 4-hour rollout of hit music, right from the opener, John Waite, and then the headliners, us and STYX and Foreigners. So I can understand. I was really entertained by the other bands last night myself.
At any time, are STYX and Foreigner guys on the stage at the same time?
Not yet, but that has happened in the past and is likely to emerge as the tour, continues to evolve and we get later in the summer. It's quite likely that something like that can happen.
Okay, well, we're excited and can't wait to see you in Clarkston, Michigan at Pine Knob and beyond.
Pine Knob, one of our favorite venues ever. Just one of the spectacular venue to see a band, and STYX have had many memorable and unforgettable nights that we've had there in the past, and so really looking forward to it's this Saturday, right?
This Saturday, June 15th. Yeah. The ambiance, you can't beat it. Everybody's sitting on those hills. It's the best.
Oh yeah, it's just the best. Yeah, I love that venue, and I love the fact that we can call it Pine Knob again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. It was DTE Energy Music Theater.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yep, but everybody still called it Pine Knob.
Oh, I know. I realize it. We did too. Nothing against DTE Energy, folks, and thanks for the money, but Pine Knob is just a much better name.
Yeah, it's like grocery stores in your hometown. Whatever they were to start with is what you're always going to call them. Correct.
Yeah, being from Toronto, I still call there's a supermarket called Metro. I still call it Dominion.
Yep, we have one of those in our town too.
Yeah.
Well, have so much fun on this tour, and thanks again for taking the time. It's going to be a great summer.
A pleasure talking to you, Dana, and we're really looking forward to Pine Knob this Saturday. STYX, Foreigner, special guest John Waite. It's going to be a spectacular night.